Welcome to a new episode of Behind the Needle. I'm here with Yancey Taylor. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. And today we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about the origin story of Yancey and how she got to where she is and where she started, the journey, and it's been a long one. You've been doing your esthetician thing for 15 years.
Yes.
Does it feel like that?
No. And I keep saying 10 years, but every year goes by and it's another year. So I have to readjust. So, yes,
Yeah.
it's been a while.
So there's a lot to unpack. And then we're going to talk about where she is today and maybe a little bit of what's to come if I can get her to open up about that. We'll see. But I'm excited to have you here today in the chair. And before, when we were walking in, I said it was so funny because we connected a couple of years ago through DMs and neither of us remembered until I was looking at it today and I was like, oh my gosh, wow. So this has been a long time coming, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to know how you got started because I think it's a really interesting story. It's a really interesting thing of you kind of, do you feel like that you've been called to this industry?
I definitely do. It's just kind of has taken me with it.
Yeah. So when in 2010, when you started, what was the scenario? What was your life circumstances and how, like, let's go back to the beginning.
This is actually very comical because at that point, I mean, I've always been into beauty and all of that. So I, was trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do. And I kind of, I wanted to do aesthetics because I was thinking about a career that I could do that was relaxing and calming and one that I could do while, I raise a family that's, something that's easy. And it couldn't be further from that. So,
Running an aesthetics practice is not further from that, or the
well,
journey hasn't been?
the journey has not been
Okay.
anything like that.
Okay.
So, it definitely did not happen that way. I became a single mom basically when my daughter was 8 months. And well, let's rewind a little bit.
Okay.
So I became an esthetician in 2010. Then in 2012, I decided to go to school for laser because I realized at that point that I don't want to just do facials. I want to do more medical type stuff. And so I, kind of moved forward with that. And then I ended up moving to Arizona from California so that I could do laser. And because in California, you can't do laser and, all of it.
As an esthetician,
Yes.
you have to be
Yeah.
an RN or
Yes.
higher.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I moved here and basically got started. Then I had my daughter in 2014, and at 8 months, I became a single mom, which wasn't the plan, but
8 months after she was born.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so basically I hit the ground running, trying to build a career for myself, something that could support my daughter. And I took, jobs where I was an independent contractor and I, wasn't getting paid unless I was working. And so I basically had to work really, really hard to build something for myself and to be able to survive.
Yeah.
So over the years, I just worked at different med spas and had a lot of different experiences. And that took me through, I will say, up until about 2020. And obviously COVID happened at that time. And
Right.
I ended up losing my job. And I was kind of stuck, sitting at my house with my daughter wondering, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
What's that? She's 6 at this time.
She was, oh my goodness. So she's 11 now. So 2020. Yes.
And then you had been in the world of aesthetics for a decade.
Yes.
And so you're like, you're in it.
Yes,
Like
I had already developed some clientele and, I definitely had been in it, had a lot of trainings. And so, I'm sitting at home by myself in 2020 thinking everything is shutting down and I had no idea what to do. And I just honestly, I had felt a little defeated from the industry. And I decided to do a career change and I started studying to be an insurance broker. And
a logical transition.
I mean, it's,
next step.
sales, I could do it from home and I
Yep.
needed something where I could raise my daughter and still, make money. So I basically really had a hard time with that. It was really, really it was pretty boring. So
Okay.
I could not,
Did you last
I
a
didn't
year?
love it.
Was it less?
Nope. So during that time of me studying for insurance, I had a lot of different clients reaching out to me and,
Aesthetics clients.
Yes,
Okay.
aesthetics clients reaching out to me, asking for services, and I was sending them away. And
Because you were in your insurance era at that
I
point.
said, I'm no longer in this industry, and let me find someone that I can refer you to.
Yep.
And it kept happening, and it happened over and over. And I finally was like, what am I doing here? Like, I cannot be turning, everyone away. And so I had one of my previous clients reach out to me, and she had sent me to another friend / previous client of mine who was leasing her space. She had a condo that was 3 floors, and the bottom floor is commercially zoned. So I'm like, well, I don't know, but let me just go take a look.
Yeah.
So I went to look and, talked to her. She had some equipment that I could use and kind of had a little bit to help me get started. And it was this person who really took a chance on me and believed in, my abilities and believed in me. And she also became my first investor.
Oh.
So she helped me. I rented from her, and then she helped me buy my first piece of equipment. So
let's just pause here because this is a mega story. You went through 10 years of doing what you loved and then got so incredibly burned out, you had to step away from it. You're like, I love you, but I need to go away for a while. And you thought it was, I'm an insurance broker now. And now you're laughing at it because you're like, no.
Yes.
But
no.
this was like a major life change that happened. And then as you got going, it didn't let you leave. For whatever reason, you still could have kept saying no and no and no. And eventually the leads would have gone to other places. But like, it wasn't letting you go.
Correct.
And then you listened to it. And then something crazy happens and you have an investor.
Yes.
That doesn't just happen to people. That's really cool. Like it kind of, it almost feels like because you said yes. I don't believe everything happens for a reason. I hate that phrase so much, actually, because I don't. And if it does, then it's because a lot of people choose to do a lot of things. And those choices of theirs affect us. But that's what I believe. But what happens around and to and for us, we have the opportunity to take it or leave it, and you took it.
I definitely took a leap of faith, and I have to say I was really scared because I feel like I had been broken down.
What were you scared of, though?
Just, I don't know that I had as much faith in myself as I should have.
To be an esthetician or a business owner, or all of that?
I don't know. I just, I don't know necessarily why I wasn't so sure. When she decided to invest in a piece of equipment for me, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yikes. What does this mean?
And I knew at that point, if I decided to move forward, that this is the real deal. Like, I can't fail.
No.
So I knew once again that I had to kind of hit the ground running.
And did that idea of I can't fail because now someone else's money is involved?
Yes.
Did that motivate you to do? Because you always tried to succeed, but did it bring another level of that?
Yeah,
or was it just purely fear? Was it purely fear?
Probably purely fear. I don't know.
At first.
I definitely, I don't want to let anyone down, especially if they're taking a chance on me. Okay. Right. And so I want to prove that I can do this and that that's a big, how expensive the devices are. Right.
Yeah. So, do you remember how much that one was?
That one was, my first one was about, almost 40, which is not as bad as.
I mean, that's not nothing.
That's not nothing, especially from someone that is taking a leap of faith,
and
right?
Going back.
And as a single mom as well.
Oh, that's not nothing.
I mean, I have bought other devices since, and it's not 40. I wish it was. but
if we could go back to the 40, we would.
Yeah.
Okay, so you jumped back in. And then
I definitely did.
And then what happened?
I also started a skincare line, which again, it was like, well, who's going to buy that from me? And one of the people I was dealing with, she's like, who wouldn't buy from you? Like, you need to have faith in yourself. And again, it was a leap of faith with that too, that I know that I am really good at what I do.
Yeah.
And I did just have to take a leap of faith and believe in myself as well.
Mm.
And I think once I started, seeing the success happen and knowing that someone gave me a chance and took a leap of faith on me, that it just really kind of motivated me to do better.
I feel like you needed people to take a leap on you so that you could take a leap on yourself.
Yes, I think so. I don't know what was definitely, having a loan from someone, I know I have to pay that back, but also I have my daughter and I have to support both of us and give us a good life and all of that. So I think it's a mix of things.
It's amazing that you've been able to face everything that has come your way so strong, and you've just done it.
Yeah.
And probably, tell me if this is true or not, every time you were faced with this new whatever, it's overwhelming and it's heavy, and you're like, how am I supposed to do another thing again, right?
I think I've realized that I operate really well under stress, which is not necessarily healthy, but when I'm presented with more of a stressful situation, I perform. Like, I can get stuff done. And I think that, that's kind of been my motivating factor. It's kind of been my driving force is, it's not necessarily the healthiest thing, like I said, but for many years when I'm faced with, different things happening in life, I work harder and just kind of get things done. So
Yeah. The fight or flight.
Fight or flight is,
It can be tiring though.
And here's the thing. It's like, over the years, my business kind of exploded and it, grew tremendously over the years. And yeah, so burnout is definitely a thing. And this has all been very much a learning experience and trying to kind of reset because, well, we don't need to get ahead, but I did mention that I have expanded and I've been in my new location since for 1 year this month.
Yep.
So I think now it's about, I don't necessarily think that working in fight or flight is a long-term plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've kind of realized that. So it's been about learning how to kind of reset. And again, the first few years of my business, I was so incredibly busy and, taking care of my daughter and just being booked solid. And I think now I just really have been working on getting systems in place so that I am not doing everything, trying to kind of build the roots of my business because I kind of feel like I bypassed that because I've just been so busy.
Yeah.
So
how do you make the transition from esthetician to CEO?
Well, and what aspect do you mean?
Like, you've always been a CEO of your business, but generally the CEO isn't in the weeds doing the treatments and performing, the facials and the lasers and things like that. So as you expand, truly the only way to grow is you either charge more or you work more or both. But that's only, there's a cap. There's a ceiling to that, right?
Yes. And honestly, that's what I'm kind of in the thick of right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm still doing the treatments and I'm working on growing my business, but it hasn't been, since I expanded, it's been really a challenge finding the right team.
How come do you think it's been a challenge? Have you just not had a lot of conversations with people, or you have and they just didn't feel like the right fit?
What I've found is it's really challenging to find people with the same mindset that really have a passion for the industry, that really want to put in the work to grow.
Yeah.
Because, and what I know, because this is, how I started, is by working really hard and doing what it takes to, get clients and keep clients and all of that. And I think what I've found is a lot of people want things to be handed to them. And it's presented a little bit of a challenge to find the right mindset of people that really want to grow and that want to grow within my business.
Yeah.
So, whether it's, estheticians, or I really have been wanting to hire an injector.
Yep.
That's also a little bit of a challenge because what I do is all skincare. So laser, facials, all of those things, that side of things. So
Mhm.
I don't have an injector in there to train other injectors. So I need another amazing injector that knows what they're doing, that can come in and that wants to grow within my business. And that's kind of a challenge because people want to grow their own businesses is what I've seen a lot.
So how do you think you'll navigate this then?
So what I've started doing is I have started kind of partnering. So I've kind of partnered with one of the providers. He's a naturopath and he has his business right across the hall from mine.
Okay.
So he's kind of coming in on certain days and doing medical IVs for my clients while they're doing facials.
Nice.
Yep.
That's
I'm
awesome.
super excited about that. To be able to offer that to my clients is great. And because I've had a hard time with finding an injector, I finally just asked my medical director if she would come in and do injectables for me because it's no liability. She knows what she's doing. She also trains,
Yeah.
other people and helps other businesses get going. So she's been a very big asset. And so that is starting coming up here on the 28th. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of naturally happening. Did you go down the other path before with trying to hire people here and there and having conversations about, so tell me, how are you going to grow your clientele? And they're just like, feed me. Like,
right?
feed me, mama. Feed
Yes,
me.
100%. Yep. Yes.
That was a baby impression if you didn't get that.
That's pretty accurate. I did get that because, it is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So,
why does that happen? Is it a combination of inexperience and not having run their own business before? Is it entitlement? Is it being naive to the way that you grow a clientele? Is it something else? If you want to go there, I mean, we
you
can.
mean as to why people are?
Yeah, why
like
has it
that?
been so hard to find people that have the mentality that you have? Is it because they feel more ownership if it's their business rather
I
than
don't
working for
know.
someone?
And again, like I said, me starting off, it was, I either work or I don't get paid. So I knew I
Yeah.
had to work. But I think the mentality is people want to get paid,
For
the
showing up.
world, and they want you to give, and they're not willing to really quite put in the work. So I don't know. I follow a lot of forums as well, and I always, worked only as an independent contractor. I worked commission based only.
Yeah.
And I do see people that are upset by that now that are like, report them, they want to get hourly and commission. And I just didn't start my career that way. So I don't know. I think a lot of people, and myself included, before I owned a business, I didn't realize how expensive it was. You just see the owners and you think they
They're
make the
balling.
big bucks. Yeah. But there's so much cost involved that factors into, how much someone's getting paid. And I like to do it where people have an incentive to work harder, but I just find that a lot of people don't work harder and then they get upset or.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I used to think this way before running my business.
Mm-hmm.
So what would happen is you do think that the boss makes all the money because they're the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it works, right? But then when you go and create your own business, you realize, oh, I've never had an office. I've always worked remotely since I started in 2017. And so that's like a huge expense gone, right? I can even write some stuff off from my house for working at home. But you realize like an employee is expensive.
Yes.
And if there is not a way for them to generate revenue by what they do, it feels even more expensive.
Right.
And so to bring someone in and have them be a W-2, but they have no clientele.
Right.
They're brand new, but if they do have a clientele, they might want to go work on their own and give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like this balance. You have to find
Yes.
people that have clientele, that are experienced and knowledgeable and have good habits,
Mm-hmm.
but don't necessarily want to go be the boss because they see and they know
Mm-hmm.
that it's not cracked out that way, right? But it is interesting, like many businesses don't even make money until there's an exit, like until you sell or you get bought and have part of your ownership taken away and then you have a payout. But this is a good conversation to have. It's not to discourage anyone either. My words are not to discourage anyone from going out on your own, but it's like, hey, maybe you should think twice, or like ask questions, or listen to a podcast like this, because there's a lot more than you see of what happens when you go out and run. So I want to direct your words for a minute. If you could talk to people that are looking for who you're looking to hire, right? If it would be a symbiotic relationship. So who is it that would be the perfect addition to your team? Because you are looking.
Right, right. I think first and foremost, it needs to be someone that is very passionate about the industry, because there is just so much involved. There's so much to learn. But also, I think that you have to be a go-getter. There's so many, med spas here, and I just feel like you have to love it, because that transfers onto your clients. Then your clients want to, come to you because they can feel that you're passionate about what you do. So I think first and foremost, it's be passionate, but you have to be driven and you have to be motivated. And that's really the gist of it. I mean, that's pretty much what it takes.
Yeah. What's something that you do to give your customers, whatever you call them, guests, patients,
Mm-hmm.
what's something that you do in order to give them a different experience? Because where we are in the Phoenix metro area, the competition is steep.
It's wild.
There's a lot. We're probably, like in my experience, we're probably in the top 5 markets for saturation of
Right.
provider availability. So what do you do?
Well, honestly, I want to start by saying that I feel really blessed and grateful for the people that do come to see me, because I think I truly care about getting results for my clients. And I think that I'm really close with all of my clients, actually, because a lot of them, I've had clients that have been seeing me for 10 years, and you get to know them, and,
They went
but
through the insurance broker
even
era.
through that,
Yeah,
yes,
they stuck
yes.
with you. They were the ones encouraging you to come
Right.
back.
Yeah. So I just, I really care about their results and getting them results. And I kind of am, well, I'm not kind of, I'm definitely a skin nerd where I get really excited when I see that their skin just looks amazing. And I think that I don't know, I care. And I also have, I'm up on education. I know what I'm doing. And I feel
Yeah.
like, just having my clients trust me is a really big deal, because there is so much competition here, and there are so many different places that people can go. And so I really, truly think about this often, about how grateful I am for all of my patients.
Yeah. Nobody owes anyone anything when it comes to who they go for their skincare.
Mm-hmm.
It's not,
Right.
there's no contract. There's
Yeah.
no, nothing. So to have the idea that you have of like that gratitude, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
It probably projects to them as you're talking with them and treating them and touching their shoulder or their head or their face, and they can feel it. And that's totally in line with, I ask a similar question to people often when I interview them,
Mm-hmm.
or when I just talk to them in general off the mic, and they say the same thing, because everybody can go wherever they want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the ability to make them feel different, better, and get the results, that's how you
Right.
win.
I agree. I do just go through so many moments of gratitude, because
Yeah.
they have made me who I am, and they have made my business successful, and they have, helped better my life as well, so I'm happy to give back. I'm happy to be passionate about getting them results, even if they don't care as much as I do. Sometimes it's just, it's one of those things. I do love what I do, especially when I can get clients awesome results.
Yeah, I love that. What has been the most powerful, or the 2 most powerful ways that your business has grown? Is it social media? Is it word of mouth? Did you try doing billboards, radio, TV?
Oh, honestly, it's been word of mouth. That is
Yeah.
the single-handedly most, I think that's the best way for me to grow. And that has been how I've grown. I have definitely tried a lot of different types of marketing. Social media, that's been a beast for me. It's very interesting, social media, because you see all these people that have these huge followings and amazing social medias, and it's just been something that's honestly been really frustrating for me. I feel like it's easy to get caught up in social media, and I don't necessarily feel like social media is, it's definitely not been what has grown my business. I do some Google ads. I do Facebook, Instagram. I've tried a lot of different, avenues for marketing.
Yeah, word of mouth is just
word
the
of mouth
queen.
is it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the queen.
Yeah.
Do you offer incentive for people to talk about you to their friends, or does it just happen? You just make them feel so excited? Because like when I think about why do I tell somebody that I went somewhere, right? Or like a show that I'm watching or a restaurant. And I think it's because of my experience with it, but then also like if I know that that person is interested in something similar,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the first thing that comes to my mind. So do you try to reinforce that? And do you say like, hey, do you ever talk to people about like, or, your skin, dang, your skin looks really good. Have people been noticing? Do you ever say like little subliminal things like that?
Honestly, I don't.
Yeah.
Like if I see their skin looks great, I will let them know. But a lot of times people are really happy and they will get compliments on their skin. So I really honestly,
Wonderful.
maybe this is not great, but I didn't really have a strong referral program in place. That's something that I've kind of been working on. I do offer, if someone refers me, I do give them something for that. And I've just recently I printed these cards for my clients to give people if they want to. But before that, it's really just been, people
It's just
referring
happened.
off of their results, which has been a huge compliment to me.
That's wonderful. What would you change about this industry if you could wave a magic wand? What's one thing you would change?
Let's see. The first thing that comes to mind is one of the things that I specialize in is corrective work. And so one of the things that means is people that have maybe gone to other places that have created damage in their skin.
Okay.
Usually it's, correcting, scarring or, fine lines and wrinkles and sun damage and that kind of thing. But it also has been people that have gone other places that have had things go wrong. And we have these really expensive devices that, they are definitely not cheap, as we discussed before. One thing that doesn't really go along with buying those devices, unfortunately, is proper training. And I think that, I have a Morpheus 8 device, and there's been a lot of, things that have happened with people that have gone wrong with devices, radio frequency devices and things like that.
Because of the lack of training?
Well, honestly, anytime I see something that goes wrong from a procedure, it usually boils down to lack of training and not knowing how to use the device properly. And I really do wish that something could be implemented for people to get proper training with these devices, maybe even ongoing training with these devices. Because again, they're so expensive. And I just feel like that should be something that should be, a given, so that, because the device that I have, I have the Optimus device. There's a lot that could go wrong if someone doesn't know how to use that device, but it's such a great device. You can get some amazing results if it's used correctly.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty big, because a lot of times, not only this device, but other devices, they can get kind of a bad rap, but it's because people are not trained properly on these devices.
Yeah.
So I've worked with this device with Morpheus 8. It used to be called Fractura.
Okay.
When I first started working with it, I got a training, and then the company that I worked for sent me to another state to do a training with a dermatology office so that I could kind of shadow and, pick their brains and really, learn all that I could. And that was very beneficial.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. But, a lot of places they'll hire people to come in and they don't have proper training to utilize these devices in the right way. So I think that's a big one.
Do you offer training to people?
Well, I haven't really had that opportunity yet, but I have a receptionist and assistant right now, and I've been training her kind of from the ground up. And I will be thoroughly training her on every single device that I offer in depth.
Yeah. It sounds like with the devices that you have, you're probably a wizard. You know in and out.
Yes.
You understand the risk involved. And so you likely have made sure that no complication happens if it could.
Right.
So if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, Yancey, will you train me? Will you teach me how to do this?"
Yes.
Well, could they?
Yes. So I actually love training people and educating people. I used to work at National Laser Institute and kind of was teaching people how to use these devices.
Yeah.
So I definitely have a passion for training and educating. I absolutely love it. So I definitely am open to training people for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I have a couple more questions.
Okay.
No, it's not bad. And then we'll wrap.
Okay.
So we talked about what you would change in the training. What's one thing that you feel like this industry does really well that you're proud of to be a part of it?
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't know. There's
This could be something that's best practice for an esthetician or laser tech.
Well, one thing that I do that I personally love about this industry so much is that it's always evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, new equipment, you know, new products, new everything all the time. It's never ending.
Yeah.
And I actually happen to love that. It never gets old. And that's what change is really big in this industry. And it's growing and it grows so fast. And I think that that's fantastic. I think that that's one of the big things about the industry.
Yeah, because if you think about it, people change all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a trillion scenarios of what could happen if you tweak little things like the depth of the needle, the energy delivered from the RF,
mm-hmm.
the amount of times it's stamping or whatever the term is for Morpheus 8, it goes into the face, right? How fast, how
mm-hmm.
slow. There's so many variables, right? So it's really, I'd hate to say the word trial and error. It's trial and more trial because there's always going to be stuff that's changing.
Right.
That's cool.
I actually operate really well with change. I definitely love that. And it keeps the industry very exciting.
Yeah.
And there's never a dull moment. I mean, even on my day-to-day, I'm doing different services all day. And I love that. It just doesn't get boring. It's just, I love that about it.
Several little questions and then one final deep big one.
Okay. Oh boy.
I want you to rate A to F. A is the best. F is fail.
Fail. Okay.
The following things. And let's just say the grade is based off of effectiveness and how it actually works. Okay. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Morpheus 8.
When used correctly, it's an A.
Hydrofacial or diamond glow?
Oof.
And we'll just lump them together. I know they're different and they do different things, but let's say like that device type.
I always think that when you're doing facials with deeper treatments, they're a lot more effective. I think monthly facials are very important, but they work even better when they're done in conjunction with deeper treatments. So if used with deeper treatments, I think they can obviously be very effective. And I would have to say an A.
Do you have either hydrofacial or diamond glow?
I don't have either one of those. And I do have, my own personal thoughts and opinions about hydrofacial. But yeah, I actually have Glow 2 facial.
Okay.
Which I do love. I love. I think that it's
so Glow 2
very
is
effective.
an A.
Yes.
An A. Salmon sperm.
Oh, that's a new one. I think that's a TBD.
Okay.
So I definitely
preliminary results.
I've seen it kind of creeping up, and it's definitely starting to gain traction. I have not brought it on yet, but it has definitely. I've looked into it, and I'm kind of testing it out and seeing what I think about it, and that's kind of where I am with that.
Is it safe to say that when you started your aesthetics journey that you never in your wildest dreams thought that you would say that you were trying out salmon sperm?
I mean, never say never, but I never had that on my mind.
Well,
yes.
There you have it. There's a no.
Yeah.
How about a CO2 resurfacing laser?
A.
A. How about microneedling?
A.
How about let's say exosomes?
I personally love exosomes. I think that they really help the healing process. They can help the quality of the skin.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to say A on that.
Okay. So everyone has received an A
I
so
know.
far. This isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
What are some Fs or some Cs or DBs?
Oof.
What's something that you're like, that doesn't work? I will never bring that into my practice.
Gosh, I don't know that answer to that. I definitely always sample different things, and I don't.
How about
There's definitely different skincare lines that I would have to say are Fs that I have sampled, and I'm like, there's no way I will bring this on for my clients.
which lines? I'm just kidding.
No.
Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Not
Definitely
trying to get
will
in
not
trouble.
go there.
LED light therapy.
If you look at the clinical studies from LED light therapy, I will have to say it's an A. The only thing with that is that a lot of people want instant gratification. And I think when you're using, certain devices, I think that you can get great results. I think it makes the skin look really plump and more youthful if it's used regularly.
Okay.
But you have to look at the clinical studies. And again, it's not something that happens overnight. It's a lot of the stuff that I do too. It takes a little bit of time to start seeing, the benefit, but you will see those long-term benefits down the road. And the more things that you do, the better it's going to be in the end. I mean, have you seen how people age lately? It's wild. If you compare people now to people, 20 years ago and the way they're aging, it's wild. So, they have all of these things for a reason. And I think there are some gimmicky things out there like different tools and things like that, that I'm not really going to give an A on. But a lot of the devices that you mentioned, I definitely have to say yes to.
Wonderful. The last question that I have is, your daughter's been watching you she's what, 11 this year?
Yes, she just turned 11.
And she's old enough and smart enough to still see you hustling. You're her mom, you're working hard, you're growing your business. You have been since before she could walk. And she sees that. And you're her role model. You're it. Like you do what you do, and she sees it. Eventually, she's going to be old enough to where she's working, and you'll have an opportunity, or she will get the opportunity. There will be moments for her where she will be like, whoa, she did all of that. So it's a bit, I told you it was a deep one.
It's a lot. Yes.
Maybe someday she listens to this when she's old enough to understand. What do you want her to know about why you either worked so hard, what she means to you? What do you hope that she remembers about the hustle and everything that you have gone through in order to get to where you are today and where you're going to continue to go?
Well, I can definitely say kids, they watch everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really great. I can tell that she's got an entrepreneurial mindset. She's always coming up with different business ideas and things like that. I think that's so great. But I think that it's super important. And I've tried to teach her to always, I'm going to cry.
That's okay.
Always, I definitely want her to always be able to do something that she's passionate about and to never let it go. And to always make sure that, I don't know. I definitely haven't really had anyone to rely on. And she sees what that's like. And I don't want her to ever give up. I want her to be resilient. And I think she knows that she sees everything that I go through. I mean, it's the two of us nonstop. So she definitely sees what it takes. And I just want her to, always follow her passions and do what she loves, and just know that it takes hard work. I don't know.
Yeah. There's no way she's ever going to give up because she has you as an example.
This business, it definitely, having your own business, it's blood, sweat, and tears. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely not for the weak. It's been really challenging balancing family and work and everything. But this career has also been so amazing for me to be able to spend the time with her that I want and, you know, create my own schedule and, you know, have a good life for the two of us. And I just want her to know that she can do anything that she sets her mind to. And I guess that's it. I think you always have to have that mindset of just have faith in yourself and know that you can do anything. I mean, literally, if you put your mind to it, I want her to know that she can accomplish whatever she puts her mind to.
I love that. And I feel like current you, if you could go back, would tell the younger, old version of you the same thing.
100%. It's a learning process. You know, sometimes you have to unpack and kind of restart. And, you know, if you get broken down, you just have to get back up and keep moving forward.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
It matters. It matters a lot because if we have someone that we know not will do everything for us, but will be there with us, it's a way different outcome than if we feel like we're alone.
Correct.
And
I agree. Yeah.
You know.
I definitely know.
You
yes.
know. So that's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on here today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been great. And thank you for listening. Take care of yourself.